7:30. What a miserable evening. Well, actually, no, today's been okay. But yeah, this has not been the July weather we've come to expect. So, how is everybody? What are you all up to? Do tell. Last weekend, last weekend I was at Bug Jam. Hooray! Now, as you may recall me mentioning, I'd been banging on beforehand about the guest appearance of Carl Cox, and he was bringing along his pro mod, but instead everybody was going, "Oh, great! He's going to play some records." Well, just to piss on my bonfire, by the time we arrived on Friday afternoon, hello Biff, how you doing, mate? By the time we arrived on Friday afternoon, Carl Cox had already broken that pro mod in testing, so I didn't even get to see it run. However, here's an illustration of how success breeds success. He had with him the head honcho of Proline racing engines. And when he blew up his engine, he turned to the chap at Proline and said, "Can I have another engine?" And they said, "There will be another 2 or 3 with you here by Sunday." Bloody hell. Fantastic. Hello, Nige. How you doing, mate? How's things? So yeah, that is how you make your fame work for you. And yeah, well done to him. So as far as I know, he had another engine or 2 delivered, and he's out testing again. I mean, that is quite cool. So yes, anyway, Bug Jam. So yeah, drove there through the rain on Friday afternoon. Got there, got set up. May have had a drink on Friday evening. In fact, I even wandered along to listen to Carl Cox do his thing. However, it was really, really not for me. Hello, Derek. How you doing, matey? Derek, did you go to Clonbedder? Just out of interest. I know you mentioned you were thinking of doing so. Did you go along? Anyway, yes, I went to see Carl Cox do his thing. Not my cup of tea, unfortunately. So buggered off. And anyway, I was woken up at 5:30ish by a terrific drumming of rain upon the roof. So I went back to bed. 8 o'clock, the rain was still rattling on the roof. In fact, I looked out the back window, and yes, it was raining, and yes, there were people walking around in shorts, flip-flops, and carrying beer. And I thought, you're determined to enjoy your weekend, aren't you? A bit of rain's not going to stop you. So, yeah, basically, in the end, I didn't bother getting out of bed until about 10:30, and it was still raining. And it continued to rain the whole bloody day, and it did not let up for 1 minute until well after midnight on Saturday night, Sunday morning. I cancelled it, fixed the car for these. Oh, fair enough. I just wondered, because, yes, I know you'd mentioned that you were thinking of going. And is the car fixed this weekend at the moment? Well, you're there, aren't you? Are you already there? If so, I hope the weather is a lot more clement for you than it has been here today. Well, it's been a fairly pleasant afternoon, but it's been pissing all morning. So yes, so Sunday, Street Eliminator was supposed to have something like 4 qualifiers on the Saturday and another 3 on the Sunday, and then run eliminations from there. Instead, everybody got 1-shot qualifier on Sunday morning, and it was quite late at that. I think it was near a Sunday lunchtime. So yeah, everybody went out, and of course, being as it's only a 1-shot qualifier, a lot of people were quite off the pace. Yeah, here seems good to get fantastic news. I'm pleased to hear that. I hate it when events get cancelled due to poxy weather, especially in July. Come on. So yes, a lot of people were off the pace. I know the big pickup truck, the Hales big pickup truck, that was having a pitch next to. Oh, you're both having a go in Street Eliminator. Fantastic stuff. I know you were. So yes, the Hales were having trouble with that big pickup truck. That was running well off him. In fact, I don't think that qualified. I don't think it ran quicker than 13.5, which is the cut-off for Street Eliminator. And as you only got one shot at it. Who else? Elliot Day. The Days had brought their Willis, their little grey 33 Willis, and they just switched to radials. So I know they've done. I think they've done a bit of testing on the Friday in the test session, and they were, trying to get to grips with the new radial. They switched from block treads to radials, and it's not just a change of tyres; it's a whole suspension setup change. And anyway, I think Elliot put in a mid to high 10 in qualifying. Anyway, loads of people were off the pace, to the extent that of the 10 people who qualified, and there was no cruise, of course. Normally Street Eliminator do a cruise out, but because Bug Jam don't allow people to go out and come back in, once you're in, you're in, we had to abort the cruise. I mean, sometimes there's a cruise around the site, but as it was pissing with rain, we blew that out. So, if you didn't qualify in your one qualifying run, you're out. And 10 people qualified. James ran a 10.3, so almost half a second off his previous form, and was 5th qualified. James qualified in the top half of the field, which was amazing, which I was delighted about. And in round 1, he met Al Williamson. Now, Al Williamson had put in his qualifying run and broke. He wasn't going to show. So, James not only qualifies in the top half of the field, he gets a bye through the first round. Unfortunately, what we found was that the diff, the Ford 9-inch, has got a filler spout welded into the back cover. The cap had come off and gone missing. It's a screw-in cap. Evening, Gert, you're right. The cap had come off, gone missing. Now, it was a bit of a... Now, we'd been under there to change the wheels. We'd been under there to change the settings on the shocks. So on and so. I'd checked all the 4 bars for, make sure the lock nuts were tight, everything. No point did I notice that this filler cap had gone missing. And we didn't notice it until after Q1, at which point they were rather unchuffed that, having lost Saturday and a good portion of Sunday morning to the weather, some bastard had oiled the track with EP90. But, yeah, we looked all around it and we figured, when did this cap go missing? Because if it had gone missing, because he drove it to the track, he drove it from his home south of Birmingham to Santa Pod, a distance of about 100 miles. If the cap had been missing for that duration, most of the oil would have flung out and the diff would have been complaining quite loudly. Also, the underside of the car would have been bolted in EP90. It wasn't. That, and like I say, because it was parked outside overnight, well, since Friday afternoon, there'd have been a nice big rainbow underneath the car if it had been dripping oil all over the show, wouldn't there? No. So we've no idea what happened to that filler cap. Anyway, in order to make E1, we hunted around trying to find a cap that would knock in, because it's a female threaded pipe, so a male threaded plug. I know I'm assuming the gender of these fittings, but you'll have to excuse me, I'm quite old-fashioned like that. So we needed to find something that would jam into the L, so to speak. And thank you very, very much to Katie Higgs, who found a bottle of flavoured water or something, and the cap off of it was one of them sports cap things. Perfect diameter. So we tried knocking it in spout inwards, but no, it would have touched the ring gear. So we had to knock it in, well, James knocked it in spout outwards, and then got a chunk of Tesco's Bag for Life and a cable tie. And that is how you effect a professional repair in the pits. Anyway, he wasn't going to risk running it and oiling the track again, thereby incurring the wrath of Mr. Marshall and everybody. So he just said, right, I'm just going to take the green. he took the green in E1, and in E2, the quarterfinals, he fetched up against Almac. Yeah. So even if his rear end had been tight, so to speak, unless he could pull at least 2 seconds out of it, the smart money was on Almac. So once again, came to the line. James took the green, backed out of it. He then well, obviously he'd also bought some gear oil to top up the diff. So he then on Sunday evening drove home. And the water bottle cap and Tesco's carrier bag and cable tie fix was still oil tight, which was nice. So there you go. That was our weekend. All of that mitherance sat around all damn day on the Saturday doing nout in order to do one qualifying run and go, damn, it's bust. We weren't alone. On the other side of that particular coin, pitted right next to us was Joe Stevens. Now, you know, Joe Stevens had that little Sunbeam stiletto. Monster big block, twin turbos. It ran at shaky for years, and now he's in Street Eliminator. In fact, he was Street Eliminator champion a few years ago in that. Well, as you may or may not know, a couple of events ago, in the first qualifier, back end tried to overtake the front, and he put it on his roof. He walked out fine, thoroughly pissed off, obviously, but otherwise physically uninjured. And yeah, he has gone out and bought the old Alan Sims. Alan Sims, yes, Vauxhall Cresta. And sorry, I keep wanting to say Alistair Sim, but this isn't an Ealing comedy, so I'm going to say it's Alan Sims Cresta. Again, a shaky regular. And he has put the... Hiya, Nick, how you doing, matey? How's things with you? And he's put the engine... oh, I bought my red Trans Am from Joe. Wow! Bloody hell, I didn't know that. Crikey. He's told me about loads of stuff he's owned, and I didn't know. I didn't know he used to run an altered. But I suspect that's just me not paying attention rather than anything else. Anyway, he's put the engine and transmission out of the Sunbeam into the Cresta. Naturally aspirated. No turbos. So he could get it turned around and out in time for this race meet. So he was running, again, in the 10s. And, you know, on a completely new combo. And, yeah, I think... basically the carburettor and the whole setup was ready to run forced induction, and it was being run naturally aspirated, so there was twiddling and tweeting. Hello, Al, how you doing, matey? How's things with you? What was the issue with your truck the weekend, mate? I'm sure you told me at the time, but I'm damned if I can remember. Yeah, we're just talking about Joe in the red Cresta. So yeah, he was out to play in that, and it was damn good to see him. Damn good to see him competing again. And crewing for him, he had Ash Cooper, who normally runs that Transit. So there was that, and then next door to them was Tony Higgs. Now, I don't know if, again, you may be paying attention, you may not, but 3 weeks previously at the Summer Nationals, yeah, he had discovered a fault with his tune, where at 14 pounds of boost, instead of opening the wastegate, the computer jammed it shut. He very, very briefly ran 76 pounds of boost, which would have given him Pro Mod power, but like I say, very briefly. If you've seen the pictures he took of his rotating assembly, well, it's not rotating anymore. It was more like a claymore. Oh, yes, I remember you telling me this, Al. Oval. My God, how... Because you were getting peculiar signals from the from the trigger, weren't you? Oh, yes. Now I remember you telling me that buffering buffing it up with emery paper and whatnot to make it shinier. Oval. Well, bloody hell. How does that even happen? I don't know. So, well, theoretically, though, that's a fairly cheap fix. Is it? Anyway. Yeah, so Tony Higgs properly grenaded the bottom end of his engine. If you've seen pictures of it, like I say, it looks like a claymore. And he had bought, imported and installed a whole new, everything from the head gaskets down basically, and brought it along to Bug Jam. Now he brought it on the trailer, the wiring wasn't done, the thing wasn't fully plumbed in. Oh, right, okay, oh, okie dokie. Oh, bloody hell, I'm pain in the ring. So what is it, new trigger wheels should solve the problem. So you brought it along unfinished, and on Friday night he got it all assembled, back together, wired, everything. Saturday morning he was priming the oil pump, checking that he got oil up at all the rockers and whatnot. Saturday lunchtime he fired it up and it ran. It ran badly, but he soon tweaked and twiddled that and got it running lovely. And he qualified down the list, but then in E1 I'm sure he went out and ran an 8.5, and you've got to admire that level of commitment. That's fantastic. So there you go, he got it back in there, got it running, and I'm sure in E2 he got, oh wasn't it, yeah, top effort. That I can't decide whether he's a lunatic or just hello Dave, we were talking about you and Elliot not long ago. Oh, unpaid intern 2 yelling. Yeah, so Leo, we're just talking about Tony Higgs getting that motor running, and like I say, he was back off form in E2, so I think he went out. He went out in E2, I think, with like a 12 and a lot of black smoke. I think I could be getting this completely wrong. I have slept since then. So yeah, it was top effort from him, unbelievable, and. Yes, so and we were saying about the days switching to radials. Happy day. So there you go. That was the weekend. I think the final did end up coming up. Who was the final? It was Rob Carter and Andy Bond, wasn't it? Yes, Rob, of course, at a Volkswagen meet. Drag radials to the front. That's not where you're supposed to put them, I don't think. But, yes, it looks like that is the way to go. I think there can't be many people left on block treads now, can there? So, yeah, the Rob, of course, being as it was a Volkswagen event, Rob was running, the Carter family were running both their cars. His is Percy the Passat that runs, he's running 8s, should be in the 7s, I think. No worries about it. And Penelope, that's it. So he's, in fact, I think it was his daughter, who's 16, did her observed runs in Penelope on Friday. And then the missus ran Penelope in, I'm trying to remember her name. Oh God, I'm pitiful. Hazel Carter. Yes, ran Penelope in VW Sportsman. So yeah, they had a busy weekend on. His is Percy, the pale blue one. The dark blue one is Penelope. I have a small insect. Bugger off. So yeah, lots of fun, and well done to the lot of them. So there you go. That was my weekend. Since then, not a fat lot. Tomorrow morning, first thing, wish me luck. Get the universe to send me some good vibes, because the little Fiesta's going in for its MOT. Yes, the Fiesta that we were given, that we've done all this work on. It's had new clutch, new cap, new rear subframe, various other bits and bats, and I was really bloody struggling to bleed the brakes. Clutch bled up lovely, brakes not so much. So I ended up finally got it done by dragging unpaid intern 1 down there and saying, right, boot the brakes. Don't dither about pushing the pedal, just give it a bloody good kicking. He did, and out of one of the front brake pipes it belched and farted a load of bubbles. Job done, hopefully. So yes, tomorrow morning we have the Fiesta going for its test. I sincerely hope it passes, because that would be a big job ticked off the list. Then I could get onto this bloody Chrysler that sat out the front here that I haven't really done a damn thing with since it turned up months ago. And there we go. And then and there's me thinking, oh, then I can get a load of work done on other stuff. And then, oh God, I think we're only 2 months off the MOT on the van. So I've created a 4th bridge job for myself, although it does mean that I've spaced all the MOT tests out throughout the year fairly reasonably. I haven't got them all dropping on in the same week, which I've had before. So there we go, that's what I've been doing. Like I say, I need to book that Chrysler in for a test and to be plugged in and diagnosticated. Although apparently it's bleeding awkward. And if you think Mercedes cars don't like being diagnosed, then you want to try a Chrysler with all the running gear from Mercedes. Apparently they're an absolute pain in the knob. So we shall find out. So there you go. That's my life at the minute. What is everybody else up to? Well, I know Derek's down at Santa Pod for the Mopar Nats. Is anybody else at the Mopar Nats? Is anybody else going to the Mopar Nats? Is it just us? Hello. Well, this is what I was thinking. In fact, I think you're right. I think Ash is on block treads still. Trying to get drive shaft sensor on and get traction control working. Ooh. Ah. Traction control. That's cool. So it's the drive shaft with the no, it's not wheel speed for traction control. It's actually on the prop shaft. Okay. Or is it both? Because that could be interesting. So how's the old man, by the way? I should have asked that first. Because yes, he was missed during Bug Jam. Although, like I say, for the majority of the weekend, he was in a far better place than we were. There's not much more grim than sitting at trackside when it's pissing with rain. Traction control. Ooh, I like that. Ooh. Now there's an interesting topic. Oh boy, I see. Hey Chris, how you doing, mate? American Graffiti. Do you know what? How old I was before I actually managed to watch American Graffiti all the way through without going to sleep? 42. Anyway, Biff says Russ, but yes, apparently pitted next to Derek. So you know what those two wild boys are like. They'll be up all night partying. He's good, doing great, fantastic. Back out at the Euros, Minter, glad to hear it. And yeah, give him my best, and I look forward to seeing him then, if not before. That's cool. So yes, as you may or may not know, at the Mopar Euronationals this weekend, Street Eliminator have got a sort of a casting call going on. If you wish to audition for Street Eliminator, you can. And for the regular, run what you brung price, I think. As long as your car, as long as you know it can run faster than 13.5 in the quarter, you could go along and play in a sort of a demo eliminator with the Top Speed Street Eliminator boys. Yes, well, boys, at the minute. So yeah, I know. I say Derek's there with the TVR. Russ Pursley with the little Dutton. Now there's a car with form. So they don't, for this, just for this weekend, they don't make you jump through all the rulebook hoops just for the demo class. However, if you wanted to participate in Street Eliminator, you would have to have all the relevant safety gear, and quite right too. However, this weekend, put it this way, if you get paired up against somebody like Mark Sheridan, who is there, Mark's there at the Euros. In fact, I think he left most of his pit and gear there. Yeah, she is with the Buick. At least I assume. I know she has an Oldsmobile as well, but that red one is a Buick, and I believe she's out testing that, and that is destined for Street Eliminator. I suspect that may be chucked into the demo class mix. Interesting to see how many Eliminator cars have it. Yeah, oh, cool. Oh, bloody hell. So, oh, that's a pain. I think James is thinking about going, but I don't know if he's got his new tyres delivered yet, because when he first saw the running order for Bug Jam, he thought we were going to have like 3 qualifiers and then into eliminations, so he was expecting 4 runs. And when he saw that it was 7 qualifiers and then into eliminations, he was cacking it because he didn't think his tyres would last that long. So, Oldsmobile Buick. If that's what it says on the V5, you need to start asking questions. Yes, so it should be an interesting weekend at the Mopars. Praying that the weather holds. I really, really hope it does. Because like I say, there's not much more dismal than sitting in the pits watching the rain bounce off the deck. Well, I was going to say she's already been in the 9s on a fairly soft launch, soft tune, I think. But I think if the track is there, I think she should be rattling off 8s fairly easily in that. It's a mighty machine. If you're there, go and check it out. It's dribble worthy. It really is. Excuse me. So, yeah, that's... But what else is going on this weekend? There's the Hot Rod Hayride, isn't there? The Hayride's on this weekend. That's always a big do. Is anybody going to that? Is anybody already there? What else is going on? I don't know, there's loads going on this weekend. It's a stupidly busy weekend on the calendar, this. Don't know, there's Worthing on Sunday. Rally of the Giants is on Sunday. Kings Lynn Cruisers bashes this weekend. Yeah, there you go. Worthing Sunny Sunday, yeah. There's a load of stuff. There's like 8 decent sized events on. Hello to there. That's who else is on this weekend, and it's just up the road. It's the Weekend of Wheels up at, okay, I don't know how you pronounce it, Hage Windmill or something like that, or Hage. So that's going on this weekend. Yeah, it is a crazy busy weekend. Are you already there, Attila? More green. Yes, beg pardon. So are you already there, or are you heading there this weekend? Because I sincerely hope that your show field is nice and dry, because 2 p.m. on. Oh, right. So you're heading down there tomorrow. So yes, I hope I hope your field is nice and dry, because, like I say, the campsite at Bug Jam, Bog Jam as it should be called, was as wet as Joey Deacon's chin, and I'm not sure as all the uber-lowered Volkswagens got out of there without assistance. It's not too bad when you... Oh, that's cool, excellent stuff. Well, yeah, fingers crossed for your weekend. It would be nice, wouldn't it? Yeah, a bit of sunshine never goes amiss, especially it's fucking July. And, oh yeah, that's one of the other events on this weekend. It's the finals of the, what's it, Association Trophée Dragster at Clastra. No, it wasn't. Because there were a lot of people who were, I think anybody who had a Saturday day ticket got it transferred to a Sunday day ticket free of charge. Yes, wetter than an otter's pocket, wetter than a mermaid's handbag. I'm hoping it's dry up here at the weekend. Scrapyard for stuff for the van. Oh, have you still got a scrapyard you can go and walk around? Bloody hell. I still need stuff for, yeah, well, everything needs stuff. What am I up to? I'm up to this Chrysler at the moment. And yes, I've got to get it to a presentable state for an MOT test and a diagnostic reading. Although, oh cock, hold on. Did miss out on Bug Jam's evening activities though. Yeah, the evening activities, like I say. Yeah. Hey Lee, how you doing, mate? Are you all right? Yeah, the evening, like I say, all that dance music malarkey was, it's not for me, I'm afraid. I'm a bit more Iron Maiden than Ibiza. I watched an orchestra, or a group involving various traditional orchestral instruments playing Ibiza classics, which was weird. No worries, Ian. How are you doing, matey? Are you off down the Mopars? Or what are you up to this weekend? Or are you up to Hedge Windmill or Moor Green? Yeah, like I say, the orchestral sort of dance tunes, it's just not for me, I'm sorry. I can't be doing with it. That, and like I say, there were occasionally some sort of, well, on Sunday, obviously not on the Saturday, that have been a bit daft being there on the Saturday, but on the Sunday there were some sort of crowds on the banking. Oh, was he doing his tunes? Oh, bugger. Oh, I'd have come down to see that. That would have been cool. I'm at the Mopars now, but drafty. What you or your tent? Like I say, I'm hoping that the weather will be clement for everybody who's doing stuff this weekend. I was going to say I might even dredge my arse up to that Hedge Windmill, but I was be taking the Mustang, but that's still on its space saver spare. After me driving home from Street Weekend, which was coming up to 6 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago. No, 6 weeks ago. Some 60s post Death Rocket. I think they generally play it fairly safe. Yeah, I think it's play it safe, go with the majority. That's why you get a whole lot of rockabilly and the occasional rock band at car shows. You know, pub rock band covers. Pub covers rock band. Because you know that the majority are going to be okay with that. You go for something like what you've just said there, and you're going to be playing to maybe 10%, and everybody else is going to be stood outside. Go, bloody hell. What's that, Dave? It's only 46 weeks Australia. That is the thinnest silver lining I've ever seen. Well, this is it, Dragstalgia and Hot Rod Drags. I mean, Dragstalgia, they had some right bloody acts on. They had Cy Cranston on. I'd love to have gone and see Cy Cranston. And an AC/DC tribute act. Mass appeal. Now, there is a show called The Trip Out. And I know they do, they're more of a like a 60s style show. And that's where you're likely to see your sort of surf punk bands and whatnot. As long as it's not 50s rock and roll. Well, that's it. However, traditionally, Hot Rod's 50s rockabilly. It's drafty in my living room right now. Ah, yeah, that's what I mean. Is it? Is the wind coming in from outside, or Unforgiven? I think I've heard of them. Local band. Yeah. I thought, no, Nick, come along. You've got 45 weeks to go yet. You don't need to do anything right now. So, yes, far better to wait 45 weeks and then run around in a mad panic. than start it doing now. Yeah, bloody hell. Yeah. Have you roofied my coffee? No, I don't know what it is. Yeah. Yes, that, what he said. Some good rock, wake people up. So yeah, like I said, there is the only one that really seems to deviate from the plan is that trip out, where you do get some more sort of obscure left field underground tunes going on. Everyone else sticks to the programme, by and large, with a sort of if it ain't broke, don't fix it attitude. I mean, me, I like a bit of 50s rock and roll, but generally if I've had a good year of going to car shows every other weekend, by about this point in the year, I've had me quota of 50s rock and roll. The only real exception to that rule is the Straight Aces, who I remember playing at the Hot Rod Drags when it was it Hot Rod Drags? When it was at Shaky. And that was one of the best evenings ever. It wasn't in Kenny's Bar, it was in the big marquee next door. Gorgeous Dodge Ram in pearl white in the funny carpets. No. In the funny carpets? No. Oh, was it like built to tow a fifth wheel trailer or something like that? Oh, actually, yeah, I think I did walk past it. Was it pearl or was it just wet? Because I don't remember. I remember seeing a big white ram. But I don't know. Remember the Tom Jones tribute at the NASC Nats? Well, there's an example of the people booking the acts taking a gamble and it not paying off. Oh dear, someone else knows about it. Yes, I like Cy Cranston. I also really like the Duelers. Now, a couple of years ago, at the NSRA Supernats, the Duelers, fronted by Tiber Cranston, played on the Saturday night, and I was over the moon. I thought all my birthdays had come at once. You could have walked under it. Isn't that bad luck? Oh no, it's a ladder. But I'm guessing it was a big four-wheel drive thing then. You put laxatives in it. Yeah, that's about it. You'll know in a few minutes whether there were laxatives or roofies. Sophisticated ones. Mods and rodders. I don't know. Although I don't see why not. Although there doesn't seem to be a massive crossover between the sort of the American stroke hot rod scene and the whole sort of mod scene. A lot of the sort of bike clubs seem to have a nice sort of Venn diagram crossover with some of the rodders. Look on the calendar, a lot of the regional custom shows are basically at motorbike rallies, and why not indeed? Everybody can appreciate each other's stuff, and that is fine with me. I'll give the Tom Jones tribute some props. He carried on for quite a while. He did, possibly long after it was prudent. But did he actually make it through one entire number? To be honest, I wouldn't say nobody gave him a chance. I don't think he got through the first verse before the pints started flying. And I think it was just somebody went, "Oh Jesus," and threw a pint. And everybody else thought, that looks like fun. And then it was missiles all over the show. I don't recall him being on stage long enough to show that he was bad enough to warrant that. However, I was fairly near the front, which meant I was suffering the backwash from all the flying pints. He was, yeah, it's not unusual. Oh dear. Yes, he was just going, why? Anyway, that was, oh God, that was, how long ago was that? It's got to be nearly 25 years ago. Dear God, that's nearly half my life ago. That's quite depressing. Bloody hell. Go on, put a year on it. What year was Tom Jones at? It wasn't Essex, it was Harpenden. Well, one, as you say there, Chris, one of the bands on at the weekend was a Nirvana tribute act fronted by an Elvis tribute act. Elvana was Elvis singing Nirvana tracks. I didn't see it. In fact, I didn't know it was on. But apparently it kind of worked. It was really good. It would have been better if he did Only Fools and Horses style. The green, green grass of home. Yes. Ah, that's a tune, that is. Where was I going with that? Yes, there's a friend of mine who's an American car fan from this neck of the woods called Kevin Plant. And the first time I met him, he's a big guy. He had a big black quiff, bloody great big bugger's grip sideburns. And it's all good news that the Leeds Cruisers found a new home. Yes, although aren't they already having mither about it? But yes, that is good news. We'll come to that in a bit. In fact, isn't their first meet going to be the first Saturday in August, which would be the 5th? Unfortunately, a lot of their people will be at Melbourne that day. Unless, do you remember many years ago when the NSCC Saturday night cruise went from York to the Leeds cruise, which involved all those tunnels in the A64 or something? So yeah, you get a shitload of blokes with big V8s, not much silencing, and a long tunnel. You know what's going to happen. In fact, I'm sure it was James who drove into the tunnel, flicked his ignition off, you know, with the car still running, just flicked the ignition off and flicked it back on again. Bang! And blew all the wadding out of his back box, which is not a euphemism. Elvana advertises in beers. Anyway, yes, so my mate Kevin Plant, like I say, big black quiff, big bugger's grips, and talking to him, and I said, what do you do? And he says, I'm an Elvis impersonator. You know what? I could probably have had a good stab at that. But, yeah, and he showed me some stuff on YouTube, which was him. Elvis sings Black Sabbath. And, yeah, it was him doing Elvis, singing as Elvis to a backing of Black Sabbath. And it bloody worked. Any tunnel has to be met with at least 7... Yes, what Dave says. It is one of them where, you know, you see that sign at the side of the road with a picture of the arch tunnel. The picture on the sign looks like something Wile E. Coyote used to stick on the side of a fucking cliff. And, yeah, that is the secret signal to hot rodders to, get windows down, drop a gear, boot, and, yes. You see, not many people find something as dull, dreary and functional as a road tunnel as entertaining as we do. We believe that they've been put there for our amusement. In fact, this weekend I had these bright ideas earlier in the year of doing the road trip, which would have seen me. I felt some mudded angliers through a tunnel yesterday. That's a tear to my eye. Oh, happy days. Were they giving it large? Mind you, there's a railway bridge in my town here. So it's, you know, about 20 feet from beginning to end. And just as I was driving through it one way, a lad coming the other way in an Astra VXR with a big sunstrip that said VXR Tossers, make of that what you will, came through it the other way, and rim, pop, 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 rim, pop, pop, pop. I thought, it's 20 feet long, you tit. Stop it. And it sounded awful. So, yes, Elliot's been brought up to treat tunnels as a challenge. Well, exactly, yes. They're not a challenge. They're there for our amusement. They're there for entertainment. So it's only on August that the new Leeds cruise is on the first Saturday. So from September onwards, it's back to the second Saturday. Very large. Also enjoying the islands through Hemel. What are you doing down that neck of the woods? The only tunnel within 50 miles around me is only around 80 feet long. Well, should you ever have cause to go through Birmingham on the A38? 58, some obscure stuff. It might work, it might work. You get around, I've heard. That's not what the magistrate said. Yeah, if you ever have cause to go through Birmingham on the A38, there were 3 wonderful tunnels. And a 4th if you went out to town via 5 ways roundabout. I can't remember which way that's going. I can't remember what road that is. But yeah, there's 3 wonderful tunnels, and they're all on the same road. So you go down, up, down in the second one, up. One of them is called the Queensway, and I suspect they're all now in the middle of a bloody low emissions zone. But yeah, they were a laugh if you had an interesting car. Ah dear. Another pleasure denied to us. Like I say, I had this bright idea of taking a road trip earlier in the year that would have started this weekend. Well, in fact, it would have started today. And it would have involved me going, well, around the M25 for a kick-off. There's a couple of fairly nice tunnels on the M25 to Dover, and then over to France, and then through a couple of the French Paris's périphérique, the equivalent of the M25. And I'd have been going in the Mustang, purely because I've got far too much money, clearly, and I don't think the government take enough of it, so I need to burn some more fuel, quite needlessly, just so they can claim the duty back off of it. However, not going, not happening. But that said, yes, ages ago, it was when we went through the tunnel at Goodwood in the tea bucket, not to bother to go. Oh, that's not very sporting of them. Now, careful in the tunnels in Paris. I did have a quick check for paparazzi, but yes, they weren't following me at the time. Now, that's weird, because where was the under-track tunnel? I think was it at Rockingham? Where to get under the track and into the sort of infield pits, there was 2 corrugated iron tunnels, a sort of a dual carriageway, if you like. And they said, engine rev test area on them. So yeah, you go in there and crackle a few bars of high revs at them. The acoustics were awful, but it's still nice that they appreciate that people might want to do that. There you go. So anyway, I ain't going anywhere. And in fact, yes, there was me thinking, I could go up to that show on, well, it's the weekend show, but I'll be going up on Sunday in Derbyshire. Dogs, no, I couldn't take the dog in the Mustang, I really couldn't. Never mind that. But yeah, like I say, the Mustang is still on the bloody Space Saver spare it came home from Street Weekend on. So I really should attempt to put a new tyre on it, and then I could drive the car again. Yeah, I was talking the other night, and the missus said, do you realise I've never been in that car? Tunnels are always good for testing MSDs. Oh, what, to make sure they're functioning at high revs? Yes, it has a sort of an auditory, it's not like an oscilloscope, it's like an auditory oscilloscope. That's the one, yeah. Yeah, Missy says she's never been in the Mustang. I thought, bloody hell, she hasn't. And then unpaid intern 1 said, neither have I. Never been in it while it was running. I helped you build it, but I've never been in it. I thought, that's quite tight. Villiers makes 2-litre V10. Villiers. when was this? When were they making a 2-litre V10? And was it a Grand Prix engine at the time or something like that? And was it 400cc twins nailed together? But it sounds intriguing. However, if it came down to a straight choice between would I like to drop in a really, really obscure 2-litre V10 or a Ford small block, I know which my MX-5 would be getting. But yeah, I mean, surely something like that, it'd have to be going in some sort of, either something a bit special for Pendine, because, like I say, I assume that this is a contemporary thing. Is Villiers even still going? I can't imagine it is. Something contemporary for something like an Austin 7 special to go and race either at Classic Hill Climbs or at Pendine. Only in the past few years, eh? Only in the past few years. Villiers? I thought Villiers went tits decades ago. Anyway, yes, so, like I say, if I was going to engine swap an MX... If I had an MX-5 and I'd taken the engine out to put it in something like a Moggy Minor, and I thought, you know what, this MX-5 is quite cool. Yeah, it'd be getting a Ford small block. It wouldn't be getting a really, really obscure V10. Company's been revived. Okay. Wow, I didn't know that. That is quite groovy. Yeah. But yeah, I think using something like that would be... It'd be cool for picked points, in as much as everybody walk past and go, wow. After that, you'd probably be thinking, shit, I wish I had stuck a flathead or something. Or, yeah, something like that. But, yeah, I think it would have to be like I say, a sand racer or a hill climb special. Because, I mean, again, not far from me, certainly not far from my unit, is Kerbera Sprint Track. And every year they have the vintage sports car lot around. And those lot are just... hot rodders are American, by definition. It started in California and so on. They're just British hot rod. They're hot rodders with cravats. And they're all bonkers. And they're not afraid of getting in their 100-year-old gear and kicking its head in. And they really do. MX-5 with the 1UZ. Now, there you go. Except the 1UZ is a wide engine. It's really wide. Yeah, that's it. The three. I know. That's why I was saying I'm small block Ford, because I know that they do apparently drop in. And it's a new. Yeah, I mean a new. Oh, so it's a new design. It's not a revival of an old design. Yeah, okay. Even so, I think it's too obscure to be at all practical. However, practicality has never really been much of an obstacle to most hot rodders. Not as wide as the one you've just bought. You've just bought yourself a quad cam Ford mod motor, haven't you? Because yes, I think I saw that, because you did have a pop, didn't you? I take it the pop has gone. But the thing is that the 1UZ probably isn't a million miles off of that mod motor quad cam in terms of width. I think the only difference being the 1UZ will have had a very slightly shorter deck height. So what do the vintage sports car guys think of hot rods? Do you know what? I don't know. However, I don't think they are anti-hot rod. And I think it would be wonderful to get somewhere like Pendine and get both clubs together and have them sort of in a good-natured face-off against each other. A sort of a transatlantic you know, bragging rights thing, because I reckon that hot rodders and the VSOC or VSCC guys will get on like an absolute barn fire. Pop was an error of judgment. Ah, right, okay. Yes, I bought a 100E like that not so long ago. That sounds like a good idea. Get it home. No, it's not. No, it isn't. That was an absolute piss into the wind. So let's pretend it never happened. Got the last Melbourne meet. I had a small block Ford in a Focus. Not. Am I imagining that Brian Huxley has one of those? Black Focus. Yeah, Brian Huxley of Dark Horse Motorsports, Can-Do Corolla and original Can-Do Corolla and so on and so forth fame. But, or am I, yeah, I may be imagining that. Because I know he had a Ford Focus that had a bit of a, he was running it in Sportsman ET, and that man could run a Sinclair C5 blindfold in Sportsman ET and still win. Yeah, and it was a bone stock Focus, and he had a bit of a fire on the start line a few meetings ago. Nothing dead serious, but unpleasant, obviously. And I'm sure that 18-second Focus got dragged off, went back to the Huxley's garage, and when it reappeared, it was running 12s. However, I don't know what's powering it. Rear drive V8 Mark 1 Focus. Yeah. Do you remember the old Gartrack Escorts? When they stopped making the Mark II Escort and the Mark III came out, so the first thing that happened is Gartrack took them and converted them to rear-wheel drive. The new Mark III shell. Quite a nice looking thing, actually, and it's possibly the best thing to do with a Mark III Escort, or was at the time. Hey, someone else. Anyway, there we go. Oh, the Villiers V10 was designed to run with a high torque electric motor. Okay. Right, okay, so it sort of got, well, there's nothing to stop you having a high torque electric motor for bottom end torque and a supercharger for mid to high range torque. Guy local to me has a Gartrack G6, nice. Isn't there a 302 and 2 MX5 kit too? Well, yeah, Biff said that. It's the Monster Miata kit. Well, that's him, yes. So, oh, it was Brian Huxley. Cool, nice one. Yes, because that is quite a sleepy bit of kit, that, isn't it? And a turbo top end. Yeah, just throw it all on there, damn it. So Mark III Escort onwards should have been rear-wheel drive. Well, this is the thing. Everybody by then had pretty much... Rear-wheel drive was dying for small cars. I mean, let's face it, when the first British car that really brought it to the fore was the Mini. And after the Mini, which, let's face it, was a miracle in packaging, RS 1700T. That was a Gartrack shell, though, wasn't it? It wasn't just a plain old Escort shell. Any road. Ah, tits, where was I at? Yeah, Mini. Miracle of packaging. Because you think, you know, how long a Mini was. It's, what, 10 feet long? And you could get 4 adults in it. In as much comfort as you're going to find in a Mini. But the upshot of it was, you look now at a modern city car that we think of and looks about the size of a fecking ballet slipper, and then park it next to an actual Mini, and you think, my God, the Minis were tiny. And I mean, as for those BMW things that they call Minis now, I'd park my Mercedes next to one and think, that Mini's fucking huge. Ford prototype, Mark III Escort, rear drive with a turbo 1700 crossflow. Now that's weird, because the CVH was around by then. Why were they still turtling around with a crossflow? Why were they still titting around with push rods? When you've got Dunton to play with, you know, I can't imagine that they were really wanting for more modern parts. Still black, rear-wheel drive 302 crate made. Ah, right, so it is the same car. Yes, like I say, that is a snoozy little bastard. That is some sneaky shizzle right there. Yeah. Or even, you know, back then, all Ford at Dunton would have had to do, get on the phone to the States. Can we have one of your 2.3 litre Pintos, please? Yeah, there you go. We'll put it in the post to you. Why still tit around with the Crossflow? In the same way that, yeah, by 1981, most, well, rear-wheel drive was dying, wasn't it? Because let's face it, we still had all the Vauxhalls by then. Although, actually, no, by then you could still get a Chevette, couldn't you? That was on its way out. And everything was like Astra and Nova and front-wheel drive. BL, well, we still had the Dolomite, the Marina, but everything else, Allegro, Maxi. In fact, BL kind of took to front-wheel drive quite well. Who else? Ford. Well, most Ford stuff was still... No, the Fiesta was around 75, wasn't it? Smart cars rear-wheel drive, that's because they're rear-stroke mid-engine, aren't they? Even coming with a Brabus tune version. Yes. Well, isn't the engine under the seat in a smart car? Oh, sorry, I'm talking about the little smart, the 4.2s. But yeah, I'm sure that's a rear end, or so rear-engined, engine near rear axle somewhere. Ah, BDT. Okay, now that makes a little more sense. Although surely even that was kind of old school by the early 80s. And yeah, the Chevette was still going until about 85. I know you could get an A-Reg Chevette, couldn't you? But yeah, that's kind of the big changeover. The early 80s was the big changeover point when all the rear-wheel drive stuff started coming to an end. When... yeah, front drive was kind of became the majority. Well, now make sure I've got everything I need. Well, you do that, matey. Best of luck for this weekend, and there's a slim chance I might see you there on Sunday. It'll be a nice ride out. However, we'll see. Give me a shout. Thank you very much, sir. Will do, Tiller. Have a damn good weekend, mate, and I hope you do really well out of it. Yeah, so that's about the time that everything went tits. This is what I say. My everybody has their arbitrary cut-off point for where cars cease to be cool and started becoming dull. Mine is about 1986, which happens to coincide with the end of the Capri, the end of the Manta, and yeah, all of that lark. So there we go. Although Ford stuck with rear drive for a while. Well, yeah, the Sierra ran a lot longer than I expected it to. Chevettes are popular. Now, I think those would be Chevrolet Chevettes. And although they do look very much like our Chevettes, they ain't. Is that your year, 1983? Oh, okie dokie, mate. See you later, Dave. Have a really good weekend, whatever you're doing. And yeah, I'll see you at the Euros, or possibly even right here next week. So yeah, have a good one, matey. In fact, I've been yakking for well over an hour. I think I'm going to bugger off myself. So there you go. This weekend, possibly the busiest weekend on the calendar. What are you up to? Are you going anywhere good? Or have you got something better to do? Like I say, Biff's going trawling through scrapyards. Magnificent stuff. So, yeah, you're not far from a really good event happening this weekend. So whatever you're up to, enjoy it. If you've got anything else to chip in with, please chip in with it right now. Otherwise, I'm going to bugger off. Right, in the meantime, yes, like I say, laying a patio at my mum. Oh, nice. Okay. I just hope your mother is on the daylight side of it. Not having a West moment, are we? Right. Okay then, folks, in that case, I shall bugger off. I shall see you all, whatever you're doing this weekend. Have a lot of fun. Enjoy it. Make the best of it. Summer's not going to be around forever. But enjoy it, be safe, hope the rain keeps off. In the meantime, I shall probably be back right here on Thursday, yes, a week today. So back here on the same day, Thursday. And yes, please do enjoy your weekend. I shall see you later. Don't forget the Kenny's Bar reunion, October 21st. The tickets are actually limited because the venue has a capacity. So if you fancy a bit of that, drop me an email. The email's at the bottom. If you click the links and whatnot, you'll find it. It's on the Hot Rod Gazette Facebook group. It's on the events thing there. Time for my warm milk and cookie before bed. Is it an Irish warm milk by any chance? So yeah, have a really, really good weekend, and I'll see you all very soon. Thanks a lot, and good night. Bye-bye.